life is brilliant.
What? Was I too early? Oh, sorry. Do you want to start over or keep going? Okay. Now?
My life is brilliant. Your life's a joke. You're just pathetic. You're always broke. Your homemade Star Trek uniform really ain't impressing me. You're suffering from delusions of adequacy. You're pitiful. You're pitiful. You're pitiful. It's true. Never had a date that you couldn't inflate. And you smell repulsive too. What a bummer being you. Well, you just can't dance and forget romance. Everybody you know still calls you 40 pants, but you always have a job. Well, I mean, as long as you still can work that Slurpee machine. You're pitiful. You're pitiful. You're pitiful. It's true. You're half undressed, eating chips off your chest, while you're playing Halo 2. No one's classier than you. La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la. Loser. You're pitiful. You're pitiful. You're pitiful, it's true. Your dog would much rather play fetch by itself. You still live with your mom and you're 42. Guess you'll never grow a clue. Well, it just sucks to be you.
And I said to the judge that it was my bra, but she didn't believe me. So we're on air for the comedy socket.
We're being joined today by No Pants Thursday. Say hello, No Pants Thursday.
Hello, No Pants Thursday.
Hello, guys.
Should we do a quick, an actual sound check, not a No Pants Thursday sound check? Just
Oh.
how's everyone sounding volume-wise? Everyone
I
speak.
don't have headphones. Let's stick on some
Just
headphones.
be a bit louder.
Hello, can you get... You got,
Hello.
Yeah.
Are people getting my dulcet tones?
Yes.
Myself, am I cool?
Oh, you're very loud.
Well, I'll back up a little bit.
Lovely, man. Lovely.
Cool.
Well, yeah, so let's begin, gentlemen. And yes, I'll say we're all gentlemen here.
For you. I'm here too.
Yeah, Valerie's here for a whole show for the first time the first time in this entire run that Valerie's making a whole show.
If I last the whole show, let's be honest.
Does anyone know what that was supposed to be?
I
Very sinister.
I certainly don't. I brought a newspaper 5 minutes before coming here in like some kind of attempt to prepare things. And
For Valerie's news.
yes, can we start Valerie's news section, because that's all I really can bring here.
You have one news story, and that's going to be all about Valerie's news.
Yeah, basically.
Can we have it this week from RTE? And then the secrets you've uncovered in RTE?
I'll try. I could break into RT every week and see pretend I'm Kate Finnegan and maybe
Valerie,
get in there.
Valerie, who's gay in RT? Come on, you can tell us.
Who isn't gay in
Who is
RT?
allegedly gay?
That's an in-joke that no one will get. Unless you've been in the studio at TFM, you will not get that joke. So...
and we're not going to explain it to you.
No.
Won't get it.
Also, I guess first things, just if you can hear us, because last week we had a lot of problems actually getting people to be able to hear us. We weren't broadcasting essentially.
Yeah. Well, yeah, our show goes from 7 till 8. The broadcasting got fixed at 1 minute past 8.
Yeah.
Are we recording, by the way?
Yes, we are.
Definitely. Definitely.
Seems to be moving.
Great,
Lights
okay.
are flashing. Something's happening.
Okay.
We're either recording or it's going to explode. One or the other.
Excellent. I just
All on the same thing.
Trinity DU Comedy is our. If you want to get us on Facebook, any messages posted.
Oh, add us.
Yeah.
We're very lonely.
Yeah. So you can get in contact with us there.
Plug.
I guess. So are you gonna have?
We spend about a quarter of the show plugging things.
That's,
Get used to it.
I should point out you guys have more friends than me. So, you know,
If people want to add
Ben Clifford.
as well.
Be really nice.
We'll move on to a bit of stand-up. Stuart Lee and his Joe Pasquale joke.
One
I've thought
joke.
about Joe Pasquale once before in my life, and it was 10 years ago, right? And this is how it happened, okay? When I started doing comedy about 20 years ago, there used to be a comedian on the circuit in London called Michael Redmond. He was Irish. He lives in Glasgow now. And what he used to do was he used to have big bushy hair and a kind of droopy moustache and very deep-set eyes. And he always used to wear a long brown Mac and carry a little plastic bag. And he used to walk out and he would stand still in silence for about 2 minutes, looking really weird. And then he would say, "A lot of people say to me, 'Get out of my garden.'" Now, as far as I'm concerned, that is the greatest opening line ever. And not just to a comedy set, to anything. I don't think there's a book or a play or a film that couldn't be improved by having that as it... The book of Genesis would make a lot more sense if it just... It began like that and cut to the chase, you know. And I always used to get a really good laugh, that joke. But it got a much bigger laugh in 1995 when Joe Pasquale did it as one of his jokes in his Raw Variety performance set of that year. And there's always been a kind of tradition of mainstream acts kind of borrowing our material. In fact, you might remember at the end of 2004, Jimmy Carr had to take Jim Davidson to task for stealing some of his material. Although, to be honest, if Jim Davidson can steal your material, maybe it's time to think about writing something else. Although, to be fair to Jimmy Carr, right, it was a kind of sexist bit that he'd written with a sense of irony that Jim Davidson was able to appropriate at face value. One of the kindest things you can say about Jim Davidson as a fellow comic is he's not a performer who is troubled by the possibility of duality of meaning. Right? So I did this piece for a Sunday newspaper in '95 about this idea of material theft. And I rang up Joe Pasquale and I said to him, "How did you think of that joke about the garden?" And Joe Pasquale said, "I thought if someone looked out of their window and they saw me in their garden, they would say, 'Get out of my garden.'" Now that's not quite right, is it? Because if you looked out of your window and you saw Joe Pasquale in your garden, you'd just go, "What's that? Joe Pasquale." In the garden. What can he possibly want? Because that joke only really works if an anonymous weirdo is saying it. As soon as you introduce a celebrity into it, it's structurally compromised. Well, it is, isn't it? You know. So I said to him, "Are you sure you wrote that joke? I think it's one of Michael Redmond's jokes." And he said he couldn't remember if he'd written it. And it is difficult to remember sometimes if you've had an idea, especially when they occur as thick and fast as they must do in the mind of Joe Pasquale. On an almost biannual basis. And then he said he thought one of his writers might have written it, and it turned out what he meant by writers was not so much people that wrote for him as people that went around writing things down that other comedians had said. But there's a kind of belief amongst the kind of mainstream acts. They say it's not possible to copyright a joke. They say you can't own a joke. So, bearing that in mind, I've tried to write a joke that Joe Pasquale won't be able to steal, right? And it goes like this. Joe Pasquale goes into a bar. He says to the barman, "I'd like a pint of beer, please." And the barman says, "Why don't you just come around the bar, help yourself to the beer, and then walk off without paying for it?" After all, you are Joe Pasquale. Or perhaps send in someone else to steal the beer for you. And then deny that beer can actually be owned. Say that you find the very concept of the ownership of beer hard to understand. Or better still, insist that it is your beer and that you brewed it at home in your house. Even though your home lacks the most rudimentary of brewing facilities.
So we're back on, people. That was Stuart Lee. Also, Manus of No Pants Thursday will not be showing up. So just the three good uns,
Yeah.
as I'll say.
The ones who aren't filthy traitors.
Yes.
The healthy looking ones. That's what I like.
Well, I'm very much looking. You
just
look very pasty faced, Ben. I feel you may have scurvy.
Myself
What is that, jaundice?
and Manus normally do the other alternative slot, so you guys probably recognise his voice. Just imagine it in your head to fill in any silences. Make up your own Manus lines. It can be a game you play. Manus would probably say, "Cool," or something like that.
And anything offensive that Manus says in your imagination is not actually Manus's fault. Remember that.
Allegedly. So we got a couple of one-liners now, I think, do we?
Yes. We normally end the show with it, but hey, we're going crazy and mixing things up.
Yeah.
Woohoo! Could we get maybe No Pants Thursday to some atmospheric suspense building sounds for 15 seconds?
I heard these were great one-liners coming up soon.
Why am I whistling?
Get ready! This is my first attempt at writing a one-liner ever, so please be gentle. I used to like the taste of cottage cheese, but it started to grow on me. Well, my doctor says it's a fungus. Maybe my last attempt at one-liner.
People out there are laughing their
Yeah.
asses off.
crying with laughter, some would say, or at least crying.
Speaking of our audience, hi, Mrs. Mepsted.
Yes, my mother enjoys this radio show quite a lot. I believe that Manus and Ben have already said hello to her in previous shows.
It's a tradition of ours.
Sam will be listening, but she won't be watching. She might be watching, but it won't make any sense. It's a radio show. But so Sam's listening as well. Hi, Sam.
Hi, Sam. Also,
Excellent.
I'll go for.
Can we just do like half hour of call-outs of shout-outs, Just like, yes, hello to Timmy and little Johnny boy, get well soon.
We've already been through all our audience. There's no one there.
Well, I'll do my one-liner. The second one-liner I've ever written. RTE are soon set to broadcast a new reality show in which the British Army invades a region of Dublin and the IRA have to get it back. It's called Britain's Got Talent.
Ah,
Ah.
Yeah.